Welcome to Fair Trade Month Chats with the Fair Trade Federation, where we discuss and explore the global movement of trade that values the health of the planet and the labor, dignity, and equality of all people. Today's session features FTF verified member GlobeIn. We hope you enjoy it.
First off, my name is Chris Solt, and I'm the Executive Director of the Fair Trade Federation. I invite you to learn about the Fair Trade Federation at fairtradefederation.org online. And essentially, we are a trade association of fully committed fair trade enterprises in the United States and Canada. And the work that our members do is quite remarkable and unique in the fair trade world. One of our members has a really unique model, and we have a guest here from GlobeIn, who is a Fair Trade Federation member. So just to give you some context about what GlobeIn does, so their mission is that they are a purpose-driven company growing in parallel with entrepreneurial artisan partners from around the world with the aim of enriching individuals and their communities. They are devoted to transparent business practices, equitable and sustainable partnerships, and respect for cultural continuity. They strive to connect conscious consumers with delightful products and the talented artisans who make them, thereby strengthening the bonds of our global fair trade community. So Angela Weinberg, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Chris. So good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, wonderful. So can you explain what it is that you do at GlobeIn?
Such a good question. Thank you so much for having me here again. So yeah, my name is Angela. I'm the head of product operations here, or head of procurement, if that's helpful. Essentially, GlobeIn is a subscription box company that is, we source fair trade products from all around the world. I myself have worked for GlobeIn for about 4 years now. It will be 4 years this month. And as head of procurement, basically our department does the entire supply chain. So everything having to do with artisan relationships, product development, business development, shipping products, and the logistics of getting them to the United States from all over the world, having them delivered, received at our fulfillment center, and repackaged out to customers. So basically the full product life cycle, everything that the product goes through from all over the world, coming to America and going out to our customers.
Just a small thing like the entire supply chain. I'm sure that keeps you quite busy. Excellent. So I'm just curious, what does fair trade mean to GlobeIn?
It's a really great question. I really am so thankful that you asked, because fair trade can mean so many things to so many people. Fair Trade Federation, you and we have our own definition of what that means, but then there's also fair trade certification. So I know it kind of gets lost in translation for some people. And in having those conversations this year specifically, we really wanted to define what fair trade meant to us. And through these conversations, we determined that for GlobeIn, we really focus on fair trade as the process of building strong relationships with artisan partners, and treating artisan partners, as equals. They're entrepreneurial just as we are, and just recognizing that we're going to pay more money for the items that we buy in order to just lift up the wages of people working in artisan-made goods around the world, because we really just believe it results in not only really high-quality products, but just also a higher quality life for people who make those products. And that's really important for us. And we find ourselves getting more and more invested in that process and in their success as we grow. And then also our goal is just to make sure that artisans are being brought to the international market. So that might mean, selling items to GlobeIn, but it could also mean selling items to other people all around the world. So we don't necessarily our goal is not to become the only buyer of these goods. We want to make sure that these people and our partners in these communities have an outlet for selling their products to buyers all over the world so that they can grow their businesses independently of us. And then, so that's sort of from a company side. From a personal side, having worked in supply chain, it's really interesting. So I actually came into GlobeIn having worked in the art world, so I had a very different experience. And then when I entered, I began in supply chain. So I did a lot of supply chain work in terms of just shipping products here, but we had a much smaller company. So we had only about 3,000 subscribers, and now we have 35,000 subscribers. Wow. So it's a big growth in that period.
Yeah.
And the thing that I learned the most is just looking through the ethical lens. There's so much that you can find about how to make your business not negatively impact others. So I say that really strategically because businesses all around the world, let's say you're not an ethically focused business, the primary motive is the competition and the profitability. So the profitability is also very important to us because we are not a charity, we're a social business, and we do have to run our company in a way that helps us maintain our health in order to help other people maintain their health. It's sort of like the put a mask on when you're on a flight before you put on somebody else's masks. But I found what the biggest thing that I had to tackle, and I've had to tackle over the years, is it's amazing to have a goal of we're going to make a positive impact. But I think what I had to tackle first was, how do I not make a negative impact? There's so many ways that you can make a negative impact environmentally, with the people that you work with. You could not know enough about the culture that you're working in. You could say something accidentally wrong. You could ask for something that's inappropriate and not know it. Like, there's so many ways that you can make a mistake. So I think that at first for me, fair trade was just don't make a negative impact. And then now that we've been able to really set that up, now we're in a position where we can say, oh, okay, we're like creating opportunities for people. We're not making a negative impact. So now let's see how we can make a positive impact. Let's go above and beyond and make sure that people are really seeing a positive impact on their life through the supply chains with GlobeIn. So yeah, that's sort of like a company vision and then my personal.
That's excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. I was thinking about a term that we've been using this last year and a half because, we have members that are all engaged in business, and they are, you could argue they're in competition, but our community is so generous and supportive that collaboration has been a big part of our history. So I think the way we've been describing it is co-opetition, right? And true sustainability, to your point about you don't ever want your artisan partners to be completely reliant on you, that's really a good example of that. So thank you so much for sharing that. So you already mentioned that your subscription box. I'm assuming if I were to ask you, what is unique about GlobeIn? It might have something to do with that, maybe?
Yeah, that's definitely a great segue. Yeah, we're a subscription box. So what that means is we send a box of curated goods to your door. So it's really cool. It's a very giftable thing. And because we're fair trade, we're interested in creating the demand for these products for customers all over the world, and creating the demand for jobs for the artisans all over the world. So it really is important to us that we create those entrepreneurial opportunities, and also just kind of create the market that we're in. Before we started the subscription box, there wasn't, and as you mentioned, there's not really a fair trade subscription box out there. And so we kind of had to carve our niche and figure out how to make that work. And it's been a really interesting experience. So in terms of our artisan box, we curate products. Each of the boxes have 4 to 5 products from different countries all over the world. And they all have a different theme. So our best-selling theme is cozy. It has a scarf from Thailand, it has cocoa powder, and it has a mug similar to this one, different colors from Morocco, and a basket from Mexico. And so each box is a great value, and we ship it right to your door, and it's a monthly shipment. So in that way, it is super unique, business model wise. There are a couple things that are unique other than the business model, and I really want to I feel so proud of our team for having worked really hard this year to try to define what kind of causes we identify with and what our purpose behind doing the work that we do really is. As we've grown and we have more employees, it's really important that we stick to that core value that we have. So one thing I want to call out is we have an artisan fund where we raise money monthly in a charitable fashion with our customers in order to pay for projects for partners all around the world. So in some cases this year we have had a lot of relief funds due to COVID-19, but we've also had health and wellness, we've also had education, and also business development, just a lot of support for entrepreneurial ventures. So up until this point, I believe we've raised about $21,000 just from our customers. So we're really thankful for our customers for being willing to make that impact with us. Second, I guess, is just our vetting criteria. So we really believe that when we work with an artisan partner, that we are setting up a ethical, fair trade relationship. And it's actually quite complex because if somebody doesn't necessarily have fair trade practices built into their current processes, it's actually, we take it upon ourselves to help them or try to help them reach what those vetting criteria are. So if it's fair wages, let's say it's somebody who wants to work with us in India, but we know that the wages aren't necessarily fair for their region, then we will, instead of saying, no, we can't work with you, it's our intention from here on out to make sure to say, yes, we'll work with you, but let's figure out how to make your practices more fair trade so that you can work with us. So it's really, I really appreciate how we are trying to take that perspective. How do we help you work with us so that we don't have to say no to anyone? Because at the end of the day, we want to work with as many people around the world as possible. And then the last thing that I think is really cool is our customers. Our customers are amazing. Our customers, we call them the mavens. They are mavens. They are super passionate about what we do. There's a mavens group that we have on Facebook that our customers are very engaged with. We do meetups in person. We have online experiences. So we did a cooking class last week that was really popular. We try to give them sort of like hobbies to do. So it's a very active community. And they also give me so much feedback on products, and they send little notes to send to artisans. And it's such a cool thing. It like really brings the whole experience together to see how the artisans are touching lives to the customer lives all over the world. So I think that's such a cool company culture that we're able to engage with the customers and engage with each other. And it kind of creates this like tight-knit family community around GlobeIn.
Wow, that's really incredible. I thought it was just going to be the subscription box model, but that was so incredible to hear all the things that are going on behind the scenes. I mean, it's really interesting, you as a social enterprise, right, wanting to express your values, right, in the marketplace, to know that, hey, your customers are wanting to express their values as well. And so that is a really unique combination. Not necessarily in the fair trade world, but the way that you're approaching it, that's really fascinating. Thanks for sharing that. It's been a rough year for a lot of people, and interesting and odd, and we're all trying to navigate the world that we're in right now. But what particularly is that you're doing, or GlobeIn is doing, that's currently kind of exciting for you right now?
Cool. Yeah, I love this question. These are such great questions. We are doing, what's exciting to me are two things. So the first one is capacity building, and the second is product development and design. So to just touch on the first one, it's, as I mentioned prior, I touched on our entrepreneurs all around the world, the entrepreneurs we work with. are really interested in improving their business practices. And as GlobeIn grows, we actually have a large dependency on the business practices of those partners that we work with. So I want to just make an illustration. So if you're working with maybe a supply chain within the United States, let's say I'm a shampoo company and I'm looking for shea butter. If you run out of shea butter, you can just place another purchase order and get it the next week, for example. And it's very tight supply chain. With what we're working with, we are ordering products from all over the world. So just to ship them to get here is one thing. It takes about 60 days on an ocean freight. But any delays along the way with production, with quality, with packaging, all create delays in the supply chain. And because we're a subscription box company and we depend on deliveries monthly of getting products out to customers monthly, it's really important that the supply chain can be tight from our end as well. So not only do the artisans want to improve, but we also need them to improve in order to improve our business. So we're really on the same page with that one. And with acknowledging that this year, we realized we have a huge opportunity this year and next year to help improve the production capacity with those artisan partners and help them increase the ability to produce on time, to ship on time, to get things out to us in high quality. One example of this is that our close artisan partners in Morocco that we work with in ceramics, we went and visited them this year and saw their studio and got a lay of the land and spent 3 days just hanging out with them and seeing what they needed. And we identified this year that they didn't have enough space. So unless we would have went there to visit and seen and empathize with them about what was causing some delays, we wouldn't have been able to understand that it was a space issue. So what we helped them to do is to find another location. So now they have a second studio, and we've also helped them to purchase a second kiln, so they may be able to set up that studio with a kiln for the ceramics. So that's been really fun. I mean, it's been a group effort. We basically kind of sat down at the drawing board, our country manager and myself and our partner, and said, how do we make this better? How do we make this system better? How do we help you, and how can you help us? And just coming up with a solution to find a second space and a kiln was so cool, and we're hoping to see some results in November. And so, yeah, we've done a handful of those things, and we hope to continue with that. And then the second thing, which is loosely related, is product development. So since I come from an art background and I was kind of thrown into supply chain, I'm really excited to be going back into product design. That's my focus for 2021. And what we're finding is that the products that we have designed exclusively for GlobeIn actually have the greatest demand for our customers. Customers are hungry for more fair trade items, items that are unique that you can't find in the fair trade industry at large. So we're doing a lot more product design and custom product development with the artisans in order to create a range that just is for GlobeIn. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to really define, what is GlobeIn design-wise, what does GlobeIn product look like, and continue to offer more new stuff to our customers every month that is you can't find anywhere else. So that from a personal side, that I'm really excited about.
Wow, that's fascinating. I was just picturing while you're talking, one of your mavens opening up, or any of your customers opening up a box. That must be kind of a very surprising, fun experience to be part of. Do they know what's going to be in the box, or is it a surprise when they open it?
Yeah, I hope it's fun for them. I want it to be fun. We put a lot of love into it. We put out spoilers before the month so they can see what comes in, and then actually on the first of the month, they are able to pick their box, and we have quite a range of options now. I think our option range is up to 15 different themes per month that they can pick from. So yeah, they can log on, they can pick what box they want, they get spoilers beforehand, and then we also have a program called add-ons. So you can buy other fair trade goods to
Sure,
go
yeah.
along, and you can also redeem. So you can decide to not get the box we curate and buy from our shop. So yeah, it is very surprising. So we
Yeah.
do have an option to do surprise. Like if somebody wants to not know, we'll just send them a random box.
That's
and
great.
then that's actually 55% of our customers. So there's a big demand for that surprise.
Oh, that's really great. What a great way to balance all of the kind of of the needs and enthusiasm for your customers. That's just really fascinating. So thanks for sharing that. I just wanted to talk the last question here about fair trade in particular and looking ahead, right? I mean, it seems like we both are kind of continuous improvement people, right? We like to kind of do a lot of hard work and see things change for the better, right? And I always view like fair trade as part of that continuum. It's always, I mean, nothing is perfect, right? We're always trying to do some continuous improvement or capacity building or something, right? Solving a problem or creating an efficiency. So what do you see or what do you want to see as the future for fair trade?
So yes, I would actually like to try. I'm going to try my best to speak in the words of our CEO. So our CEO, Vlad, founded GlobeIn about 7 years ago. I asked him this question because I was curious of his response, and I loved it. So let me do my best.
Sure.
I'm going to pretend to be Vlad. So I think the real hope for the future would be to make fair trade mainstream. So make it accessible for all businesses. Basically, make it so that it's not just an add-on offering to your business, or not just like a marketing tactic for your business, but also just the expectation for business in the United States. And in his opinion, he thinks all trade should be fair. So customers, as they get more conscious, as fair trade becomes more mainstream, eventually maybe that will become the norm. And then GlobeIn won't be able to claim to be a fair trade business. We will just be a business because all business is fair trade. So how that might relate to like the future of fair trade, I think just leadership, being confident in that statement and knowing that leading business into that future will come internally from the Fair Trade Federation, from the businesses that do fair trade. And hopefully someday we can make it the norm and make it mainstream for most businesses to want to engage with.
Well, I couldn't agree more. That is a fantastic answer. And I just appreciate you being here and having this conversation with me. And it's so fascinating to learn about GlobeIn. I really appreciate it and appreciate GlobeIn being part of our fair trade community. So thank you so much, Angela. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. This has been super fun. Appreciate
Excellent.
it.
Thank you all for joining us, and stay tuned for more fair trade chats throughout the month of October.